Our family journey continues into the decade of the 60s. We are 2 years into our new life here in country New South Wales. It's 1962. I was just a kid at the time and I had no idea why we were here. And it wasn't until later in life that I came to understand the reason why. As for Mum and Dad, well, their reason for coming here was crystal clear, and that was to spread the Christian faith in this remote part of Australia. The church assigned my father an area of 200 kilometres by 130 kilometres wide in northern New South Wales. So for the next 13 years, he preached every town and every corner of that area. I know he did that because I was there. To his credit, he did his job well. Our time here in New South Wales was drawing to a close. Moving to Shepparton, Victoria was the next phase of our life. My father was assigned there as a minister for the church in that area. The 70s and 80s, well, that was a time to marry and to have children. The family grew in size and now my grandfather Azzolino's descendants are a large group of people here in Australia and also in Germany. For the last few years of grandfather's life, he lived here with my parents in Shepparton, not far from this native reserve here at the end of Balmoral Street, Kialla. We would take him down here now and then for a walk. This is a long way from Europe, where he left all those years ago. Now it's well over 100 years since grandfather Azzolino left Italy via Germany on his journey to this great land down under. Mum and Dad passed away in 2010. They lived a long life and were able to see their great-grandchildren. They're laid to rest now at the Gold Coast Cemetery, Queensland. All families endeavour to find their unique history. The internet has given us that window of opportunity to peer into our past. The infamous or famous are easy to find, but for most of us it can be a frustrating experience. It requires patience and time. Our search for information was not without difficulties. In Italy, language and spelling changes from one town to the next. There are many different dialects to contend with. Here are just a few examples of what we found. Of all the variations, though, this rendition seems to be the most dominant. It's the year 285 AD. This is a turbulent time for the Roman Empire. The empire was exhibiting signs of stress, perhaps due to lack of communication, dissent from within. There was rivalry amongst those in power, the clash of egos. All of this was consuming the empire's ability to govern itself and maintain some form of control. So someone decided that dividing the empire into two parts, east and west, may be a solution to the problem of control or lack of. Historians refer to the eastern sector as the Byzantine Empire. 732 AD, and finding our ancient history became a little easier due to a weather event near the coast of Italy. A small ship has been at sea for quite some time and is running short of supplies. As they approach the southern tip of ancient Italy, a port becomes their haven for a few days of respite and to resupply. They resume their journey once again and head north through the Strait of Messina, a narrow stretch of water between Italy and Sicily. This strait has taken many lives in the past and reduced many ships to a watery grave. On board this particular ship was a special delivery. Destination Rome. Within 24 hours, a serious weather event occurs and changed everybody's plan, including history. The shipmaster decided to avert possible disaster and changed his course due east to the coast of Italy and seek shelter. They arrive at the small ancient port of Maratea. The weather clears and a beautiful part of the world becomes apparent. We're not sure what really happened next, but for some reason leaving Maratea was going to become a problem. On board was a container with the remains of someone who was dead for almost 400 years. The shipmaster was transporting those remains to Rome at the request of the church. For whatever reason, that did not go to plan. So who was this deceased person of 400 years? Modern-day Maratea answers that question. We now know the identity of those remains. This mountain is named after him. It overlooks the village of Maratea. He is referred to as San Biagio. There are many theories as to how his remains got to stay here at Maratea. Maybe the locals viewed this whole event as a godsend or fate and had the legitimate right to confiscate his bones. Whatever the case, it's claimed his bones are in a church on this mountain. Now that we have a name, we are able to ask the obvious question. Where did he come from, and what is his story? Biagio was born into a devout Christian family about 270 AD, here in Sivas. Sivas is an ancient city located in Asia Minor, also known as Anatolia. Today it's modern-day Turkey. The name Blaise started out as a nickname. In time it became the family name. This was an ancient land with a long history. 4,000 years ago it was in the hands of the Hittites. It then fell to the Assyrians and then fell to the Greeks. In 560 BC, Croesus mounted the throne of Lydia in Asia Minor and brought all the Greek colonies under his rule. Alexander the Great had his turn, and Greek rule was then spread over the peninsula. After its conquest by Rome, Asia Minor enjoyed centuries of peace during the Middle Ages. It became the centre of Christianity and the guardian of Greek and Roman culture. Biagio's early life was one of study. He devoted himself to the study of literature, medicine, and physics. In time, his devotion to the Christian faith led to his appointment as a bishop or overseer of Sivas by the local Christians in that area. His appointment as a bishop came with a cost. It would cost him his life. These mountains would soon become his home and a place to hide. Family, friends and church members are very worried about his welfare due to political tension in the area. The many caves and mountainous terrain is a good place to hide, and so he made his retreat. Unfortunately, time was running out for Biagio. The common people are well aware of what happens when you antagonize Rome. Here at Masada at an earlier time, 900 men, women and children would rather die than face the wrath of Rome. The men killed their own wives and children, then took their own life. Some were thrown over these cliffs to their death below. Biagio is now facing Rome. Roman soldiers find him in these caves. They take him into custody. He's taken back to Sivas where he faced torture and brutality. News of his capture spread quickly and the people crowded in. Roman hierarchy at the time made torture and punishment a matter of public exhibition. So they suspended him from a wooden beam and they had his flesh torn with steel rakes. It was a horrific scene. There were several people who tried to intervene and stop this brutality, but they were killed immediately. He was executed on the 3rd day of February 319 AD. The epic task of transporting his remains to Rome begins. At first, it's a long 200-mile trek through semi-arid desert terrain. For centuries, people would traverse these roads for trade or to escape oppression. They would have used the obvious means of transport that was available for them in their day, perhaps mule, horse, or some other means. Their first destination was one of the many ancient ports that dotted the coast of the Black Sea. They board ship and skimmed the southern coast of the Black Sea. Their next stop was what is known today as Istanbul, one of the busiest ports of the ancient world. This place would become pivotal for the control of the eastern part of the empire. It was located on a narrow stretch of sea between Turkey and the European mainland. This was an important stop for them, as now they had long sections of sea to traverse on their way to Rome. There were two options on how to actually get to Rome. There was the long way via the Mediterranean, or there was a shortcut. The shortcut was the safer option. So that's the story of who he was and how he got to this little village of Maratea, and why this mountain was named after him. The Basilica of San Biagio is near the top of this mountain. It was constructed in the late 6th century, and it houses his remains along with a silver statue of him. Because of his martyrdom and alleged miracles accorded to him, he was regarded as a saint by the Church. In reality, in his day, Christianity was made up of small groups meeting in private homes or secluded places. There were still pockets of opposition within the empire. He was an overseer or bishop of the group in his area. They were also referred to as older men. As the centuries went by, other members of the family became prominent in the Catholic Church due to their faith, their history, and proximity in the Papal State. The original Biagio of 275 AD was implicated as a martyr in Michelangelo's art in the Sistine Chapel. Another individual bearing the family name Biagio was known as Biagio the artist from Florence, and he was deeply involved in church artwork and frescoes. In 1518, the papal master of ceremonies to Pope Leo carried the Biagio name. He would act in this role to other popes as well. He had an issue with nudity in the artwork and complained to the Pope. The Pope ignored his request. In an act of revenge, someone painted his face into the art as Minos, judge of the underworld, and covered his nudity with a coiled snake. This is the family coat of arms. Its purpose is to establish identity, family descent, ownership of property, adoption, alliance, and profession. Many churches throughout Europe and the United Kingdom bear his name. In recent times, new fields of science have answered more questions. Millions were spent on research in Europe and the United States, and it showed a high level of genetic diversity in modern-day Turkey due to its history and proximity. One notable aspect was a unique genetic marker between certain areas in Turkey and Tuscany in Italy. This corresponds nicely with the historical record. Today, Tuscany bristles with life, with a population of 3.7 million people. It has an immense culture and a heritage expressed in many churches and other places of interest. It is regarded as the birthplace of the Italian Renaissance. Renowned for its food, friendly people, and a beautiful landscape. So that's the story of San Biagio, or Saint Blaise, and his family clan back in the 3rd century AD. The migration of the family into Italy and the development of the name Biagioni over time. He came from a devout Christian family who were introduced to the faith by followers of earlier men like the Apostle Paul, who came from the same area in Turkey in the 1st century. The great Italian diaspora back in 1880 was responsible for the movement of men, women and children of the Biagioni family to other parts of the globe. Today, nearly 6,000 people identify as Biagioni, and most of them live in the area of Tuscany, north-central Italy. The rest are found scattered throughout the globe in 35 different countries, including Australia.